Hi. Hi. We were just chatting about the educational background of my guest, and we were talking about high schools that we were familiar with. The Washington High Rams, proud of Mike Center. Who's not going to be proud? Who's not going to take the time to show a lot of respect to one's neighborhood air conditioning specialist? I mean, you save lives, for crying out loud, Mike.
With the heat out there, yeah, it can get brutal.
If I spend a lot of time, and I spend a lot of time shopping for and finding my new air conditioner, right? Okay, replacement air conditioner, or maybe for a new house. How often should I get it serviced? Why should I continue to have service people come by?
You know, at least once a year. You have two scenarios in the summertime that you want to avoid by getting a maintenance. The first one is nobody wants to be without air conditioning in the middle of the summer. You know, it's 110, 115 degrees outside. You want to try and prevent anything that can fail during the summertime and cause you to be without AC. The second one is utility bills. Utility bills are on the rise. So if your system is not working properly, it's costing you more every single month.
By the way, I don't know whether you've ever had a man say this to you, but Mike, you have lovely eyes. Could you please move your hat back just a little bit?
Just a little bit?
Wait just a second. Could we get a close-up on the guest now? Hey, look at that. For crying out loud. They couldn't see the upper half of your face at all. And we want everybody to know, yeah, this is the same Mike Center that went to Washington High School. So if I get it serviced every year, then is that enough maintenance for air conditioning and heating?
It is. We recommend twice a year. We have a customer assurance plan where we come out once before winter and once before summer, do a full check, flush your drain lines, make sure everything's working properly. However, the manufacturer does recommend at least once a year having it serviced.
Now, you see, we're talking about air conditioning as being that life-giving appliance that we have in the house. But I think a lot of people here tend to forget about the heating element because, I mean, how cold does it really get? And we're not talking about the guy with the coal truck coming by, you know, and putting coal in our furnace. So, but you said twice a year, also right before winter.
Right before winter, too, yeah. I mean, nobody wants to be stuck without heat either. It's not bad in Arizona. We don't have the horrible winters like they do back east.
Yeah.
But there are nights that get down into the freezing area, and nobody wants to be stuck without heat. So it is a check that we do as a part of the customer assurance plan.
Now, are these some of the parts that you regularly have to replace?
Yes, as a part of the service, when we come out there, these are a couple of parts we do see failure.
Okay, just point at one and we'll get a shot of it, okay?
Well, this is the capacitor right here. And this is basically a battery. What it does is it helps your system start. If this is starting to get weak, it can cause your system to work harder, pull higher amp draws, and if it goes out completely, it'll actually cause your system not to work at all.
And how often does that have to be replaced?
You know, it all depends. It's like a battery is basically what this is. And with the Arizona heat, it really affects the battery. It's kind of like in your car. Every couple of years, you have to change the battery in your car just because of the sheer volume of heat that we have in Arizona.
Yeah, and batteries do have to be replaced more often in general here with the kind of heat that we have.
Correct.
Than in other parts of the country. What is this?
And this is a contactor. This is actually the switch that turns on your outdoor unit.
What is it called?
It's called a contactor. It's basically a switch, kind of like a light switch. It's just it's controlled by the thermostat. And what happens is, as it wears, as it gets pitted, from time to time, it can get caused to stick. And when it sticks, it keeps the system running when you're not asking for it to run, which there again can cause damage to other components in your system and run up your utility bills. I mean, if the system's running and you're not calling for it, it can cause your utility bills to skyrocket.
Now listen, I know that you would love to be able to make sure that with honesty and ethics, that your children will go to a fine college when it's time. But I know also that your organization only wants to come out when it's necessary. You're not going to make extra house calls. So will you please just tell us when we can be overusing our air conditioner? I continue to hear, don't fool around with the thermostat. This is the way to do it economically. How can you save us some money?
Well, as far as the thermostat goes, what you want to do is keep it at a constant temperature. The utility companies recommend 78 degrees. That's the average. What people tend to do, though, is they turn it off when they go to work. When they come back home, they crank it way down.
Not a good idea.
Not a good idea. Yeah, everything in your house absorbs heat. Well, when you're trying to cool down the temperature in the house, you're also trying to cool down the walls, the carpet, the furniture, everything that has absorbed the heat. If you keep it at a constant temperature, it's able to maintain it, nothing absorbs heat, and it saves you money on your utility bills.
Okay, saving money on the utility bills by the month, maintaining it, having regular visits by a man like you. From what company would you recommend?
KAZ Roberts Air Conditioning.
How many locations?
We have 3 locations at this point. We are a 3rd generation, family-owned and operated AC company celebrating 70 years.
Wow.
70 years.
That Roberts family has been around for a long time.
We've been around for a long time.
Are there indicators, because I don't want to guess, I know absolutely nothing about what's going on with the air conditioner, and my wife wouldn't let me even get close to it. So what kind of indicators does the average homeowner have that maybe it's time to call KAZ?
Well, funny noises. If you start hearing anything that's an abnormal noise that you wouldn't normally hear from the system, that's the time. Prior to you turning it on for summertime, you know, say a month ahead of time when it's, you know, it's about to get hot.
Yeah.
Have
Is that like a
out.
test run of some kind?
Yeah.
You mean?
What we do is we just check, kind of like what I had mentioned, the capacitor, the contactor, the charge, just to make sure everything's up and running. Change your filters on a regular basis. Every 30 days, we recommend you change your filters, because if you have a restricted filter, your system will also run harder and work longer.
And what is the cost of the service that you're making this kind of regular visit?
The regular visit as a CAP customer, for the first unit is $195, and each additional is $98. But with that, what you get is you get 10% discounts on any repairs or any failures within the year.
If you think that's a good deal, wait till you hear this. And what happens if they mention that they heard about it on the Morning Scramble?
On the Morning Scramble, we are going to do a free 10-point check. And what we're going to be doing is checking the basics of the system, just to make sure everything is operating properly. What they'll do is they'll either go online, chazroberts.com, or they can give us a call at 602-328-5066. And if they mention the KAZ Scramble as the code, they will get this free 10-point checkup.
Listen, you know, this guy is so good. If he fixes air conditioners as well as he pitches his organization, he's going to be doing my job in between the air conditioning jobs. I thank you so much, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you, KAZ Roberts, and thank you for watching the Morning Scramble and being cool about it.
It's time now for the CenturyLink question of the day. If you know the answer, be the first correct caller at 602-224-2237 for your chance to win.